You know, you burn coal, you burn wood, you heat water, and the steam builds up, builds pressure for steam, and you use that pressure to turn things like trains. There's no electricity in steam engine trains. It took them like literally 6 episodes, 5 or 6 episodes before they even brought in a steam train. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Well, but this is what they want to try to frame a narrative that humans are just don't belong. There were there have been movies and stuff where about humankind not actually being native to the earth. You know, humans are a cancer upon the earth because we came from some distant planet, and the earth wasn't prepared to be able to handle humans. There's even people out there that think that we actually came from Mars, and somehow we got from Mars to here. And that we destroyed Mars. You know, humans, well, I guess we were Martians then. We destroyed our civilization. It was destroyed, and it scattered Martians to the cosmos. And some of the Martians came here, and thus we became humans. And, I don't know. I guess if you want to follow Battlestar Galactica, the Lords of Cobalt spread Martians all over wherever. And that supposedly, because, we've got the 2 Voyager spacecraft. Remember this Voyager space probes? They're heading out of the Milky Way right now. They're on the edge of the Milky Way. And supposedly there's there's another planet out there past Pluto. I don't think they're calling it Planet X, but it's supposed to. There is a possibility or plausibility, so some scientists say, that life could be on a planet past Pluto. And that it could, and there's a movie about that now, isn't there? I don't know what the title, I think I saw, when I saw the James Bond movie, Skyfall, there was a preview of this. I think now they're making movies of this. And it's always about somebody other than a benevolent God having something to do with humankind, and either humans or that creator wanting to destroy us. Because why? Because we're just evil beings that shouldn't be allowed to live. And the movie is based on going out to this planet past Pluto and supposedly finding the creators of human life, and they look at humans that they created and decide, well, they're not worth saving. No, this is leftist Hollywood, folks. I mean, they give us one. The only time you get something that's halfway decent about the future when it comes out of Hollywood is if it's some sort of utopia like Star Trek. And don't get me wrong, I happen to like Star Trek, but it's always this utopia. Because we say there's no utopia, but somehow we're able to, in Hollywood, is able to find it. Just amazing. Somehow, Hollywood's able to create a utopia. Well, there's also movies about utopia that really isn't utopia. Remember Logan's Run? Look, if Logan's Run were the reality of today, think about this now. If Logan's Run were the reality of today, what is it? Zuckerberg? Was he 27 now? He'd have less than 3 years left to live. Just saying. The great Steve Zuckerberg, he would be put down in the prime of his life. He probably wouldn't even be a Facebook because most of his investors were over 30 that helped him get started. Just saying, gave him the money to get started. What I talked about before the break, the most absurd loophole in the tax code. And this has part to do with the tax on wealth, not tax on income. And this is from Breitbart.com, and it's from Mike Flynn. And the title is The Most Absurd Loophole in the Tax Code. And he says, I do mean absurd in the most literal sense. We all know that the U.S. tax code is riddled with loopholes, otherwise known as exemptions and deductions, intended to incentivize certain activities. And don't tell me that taxes don't incentivize certain activities. Otherwise, we wouldn't have tobacco taxes. Because why? Why do we have such heavy tobacco taxes? And they want to raise them simply because they believe that if you charge people more for cigarettes, they won't smoke them. And thus, people have quit smoking because for some people it has become far too expensive. So many of these are dubious provenance and questionable utility. But there is one that is particularly ridiculous, as in, how can this possibly be thought of as a loophole or exemption or deduction? But to the technocrats in the federal government, the tax you don't have to pay on the value of rent you don't have to pay because you own your home. Pay attention, folks. Pay attention closely. The tax that you don't have to pay on the value of the rent that you don't have to pay because you own your home, according to the federal government, is a loophole. It's called the inputted net rental income on owner-occupied housing. And the feds included in their annual list of tax expenditures. That term is how Washington officially refers to credits, deductions, and exemptions. Here's how the federal government describes it. And I'm not going to describe this gibberish because you're not going to understand it. I had to read it 4 times in order to fully understand it. And basically, it's why and how Washington gets away with saying they have to pay for deductions, pay for tax credits, to pay for tax breaks, because they view everything that you earn as belonging to the government. And here's the example. Let's say that you own a home, and now this affects everyone. So pay attention. Not just the rich. Let's say you own a home and your mortgage is $1,000 a month. Now, often, and you see this a lot in real estate advertisements or advertisements, that you can own your own home for less than you're paying in rent. Here it is. Let's say you own a home and your mortgage is $1,000 a month. If, however, you instead rented that same home from a landlord, your rent would probably be, let's say, $2,000 a month. Round numbers. Make it easy on the math. To the mandarins at the IRS, the Internal Revenue Service, i.e. the federal government, you are earning an implied $1,000 a month because you own and not rent, and that value should be added to your taxable income. So understand this. What the government is actually saying, they are paying. They have to pay for your $1,000 difference. Therefore, you actually, by not paying $1,000 more a month, are somehow earning it. That's exactly what it's saying. If you own your home outright and don't have a mortgage at all, you would be, according to the government, earning $2,000 a month, which the IRS thinks should be added to your taxable income. So let's get this straight. You own your home, you have $1,000 a month a mortgage. But the IRS says, well, you rent it for $2,000 a month. So there's a $1,000 a month difference. So $1,000 a month is $12,000 a year. So if you actually, let's say you have a job that you earn, your salary is $40,000 a year, the IRS is trying to tell you, no, you don't earn $40,000 a year. You earn $52,000 a year. And you're probably thinking, well, where'd the extra 12 grand come from? Oh, the 12 grand came from you not having to spend it on rent because you own. Now, folks, this type of system, this type of description, this type of quote-unquote deduction exists in our tax code today. And if you think that the IRS is not going to start coming after people if the government says we need money now, they're going to start saying that you earn money that you didn't earn simply because you didn't spend it. Let me bring it down to size for all of you folks who may, well, I don't own a home. Well, hey, here is the generality of this thing. Let's say you buy a car, and that car is paid off. You don't owe anything on the car, so you're not making a car payment. Well, that means if you were to buy the equivalent of that car today, and let's say your monthly payments would be $300 a month, guess what? IRS is saying that because you own your car outright and you don't have any payments on it, it's like making $300 a month, and you should be taxed on it. Starting to see how it affects everyone now? They can make that determination over any major purchase that you have. They can determine by looking at your credit card receipts, oh, you finish paying for that $800 refrigerator, so you don't have to pay it every month. Well, that's income to you. No, I mean, the liberal will say, well, that's easy to get around. Just go and buy something. Whatever happened to saving? Whatever happened to only buying what you want, what you need? Whatever happened being able to control your own financial destiny, your own physical destiny with your own money? Oh, by the way, the feds are listing this exemption as one of the top loopholes in the tax code. They estimate that it cost, and this is the term that the Fed uses, that the IRS uses, it costs the federal government, it costs the federal government over $50 billion a year not to levy the tax on so-called income that you don't spend. Look, it's in the code. You know, you can't make this stuff up. But we have people that seem to think, well, people need to pay. It's not your money. Well, yeah, it is. I earned it. You didn't earn that. I'm always struck when somebody says that they did that themselves. They earned that themselves. There are a lot of people who helped you earn that. You didn't build those roads that get you back and forth to work. No, you didn't build that infrastructure. You didn't build that job that your employer gave you. Somebody else did that. Hey, if they're going to say that they didn't build the business, well, you didn't do your job all by yourself. You didn't do that. Somebody else did it. You didn't do that all by yourself. No way. So, and that's the case then, well, everything that you earn belongs to the government. And the government, basically, is just being nice enough to let you keep some of it after all.
I always loved watching the kids play basketball. I still do, even though things have changed. It's funny, they can't find jobs to get their careers started. And I can't afford to retire. And now we're all living together again. I supported President Obama because he spoke so beautifully. He promised change, but things changed for the worse. Obama started spending like our credit cards have no limit. His healthcare law made health insurance even more expensive. We've had stimulus and bailouts. Obama added almost $16,000 in debt for every American. How will my kids pay that off when they can't even find jobs? Now Obama wants more.